we're going to go ahead and talk real quick about Pokemon, because Pokemon...
And how the legendary Pokemon in that game look like giant penises. That's what we're talking about.
You think they look like penises?
Yes! The purple one especially, dude.
Never once occurred to me.
Oh my God. I saw articles on it. I'm pretty sure Kotaku put out an article that said, this thing looks like a wiener.
So we have like a past and future kind of theme with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Big circle jet engines on the bottom.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
I'll be honest. I thought it was cool first impressions. Looking at it, hearing you laugh at it, kind of makes me like peer pressure, like also laugh at it. Not gonna lie.
It's okay. I still think they look cool, and I'm still going with the purple one. I think it looks cooler, even though
that was my thought.
Yeah, it definitely looks. I mean, I like the other one. I like the hair and stuff. That looks super cool. But I think that purple one looks.
I see why people buy both of them. I just like the color purple. Purple is a freaking cool color.
It is a cool color.
But I like the past vibe of the red one.
Do you notice the violet one too? His entire area around his mouth is like, it's not metal, it's carbon fiber. It is very futuristic looking. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Well,
and the eyes are like LEDs, I think. The eyes are like LED lights.
So the detail, I don't get that carbon fiber look from the cover art, which is kind of where I'm judging it from.
But where they showed it, where they showed it right there.
That's cinematic stuff. But the cinematic stuff it's not a representation of the characters because when you're playing the game, they're not going to look like that. You're not going to see, carbon fiber on the mouth. Like, you're going to be like, hey, that's pixelated.
I don't know if the Switch, this little super Switch comes
I mean, who knows? Yeah, maybe.
I'm just joking.
Oh, this is not that podcast. This is the last podcast.
That's definitely carbon fiber, though. I don't know. I like that one better. If we're going by just those two right there, I'm going Violet.
That's a nice segue to talking about the carbon fiber. That's a good segue to the look of these games. And obviously that's going to be highly scrutinized between Pokemon fans and Nintendo fans and gamer fans all alike. It always is. When I watched the trailer first, I thought it looked great. And I was actually happy. But then I realized I was watching a stream that had it cropped like small. So like it looked smaller, therefore the image looked sharper. I watched it again later, blown up on my TV. I'm like, oh, now I can see it now. Like it looks like every other game. There's no visual improvement.
It's the same as Pokemon always is on the Switch. It's
no visual improvement.
It's there, but it's not there. It's so far off, but it's like everything looks good. But then you look at like the outside lines of everything. All the black lines around it, all of them are so jagged. There's no.
They don't look. It's not as jagged. It's not as jagged. You got to give it some credit.
I mean.
Character models, they look really cool, right?
They do.
They do. Trees look great.
Look at that ground. The ground looks like shite.
The ground looks bad. It looks bad.
So here's the thing. So yeah, I saw people. Okay, first of all, when you're looking at a stream, you are looking at a compressed video of a compressed video of a compressed video.
Right, yeah.
So obviously, we always keep that in consideration. But I do see people tearing this apart, and then and this may be a spicy take, but. Like a couple weeks ago, I played Breath of the Wild for the first time in 4 years because I had beaten it. You know, it sounds weird to say, like 4 freaking years ago, but like I was ripping on Breath of the Wild even because those trees in Breath of the Wild sometimes look awful. Some of the graphics in that is so muddy, and so I'm like, I feel like people are being maybe unrealistically harsh on this game. It's like you do know this is Switch, right? Like some of the people I've seen critiquing this, I'm like, you know, this is not PlayStation 5.
Exactly. Well,
it's open world.
There's yes and no. I see exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you on some of that stuff with Breath of the Wild. But you have to remember this. Breath of the Wild was made for the Wii U.
Yes.
It was made for the Wii U, and they had to, that was right when the Switch was new. And we see this with every console. As it goes, these developers learn it. They learn what they can't do, what they can get away with, how they can do shortcuts to get, things to look a little bit better. We've had 4 for them, right? Or is it 3? Either way, I feel like we should start seeing a little bit more. And it does look like it's a little bit more. The trees look a lot better. I mean, let's just go there. Just the trees from Sword and Shield to this. Massive improvement.
Oh yeah,
huge improvement.
Yeah. When we're talking about the that makes sense, and we're talking about the technology, advancing and everything.
Yeah.
So what's an open world game kind of in this style that we would say this is where the bar has been set that this new Pokemon game is not meeting? You know what I mean? Like, what's a game that has the bar set? Or are we expecting?
That's like the age-old question.
There.
That's the age-old.
I mean, let's think about what is it on the Switch, right? Is that what you mean?
We're not going to expect Pokemon to break the game to break that barrier.
I mean, yeah. I mean, especially with what and that. Well, I don't know. For me, yeah, I see what you're saying, but like, I don't expect them to be like. I'm pretty used to what they do now. Game Freak, what they put out on the Switch. I mean, we've seen it several times. We know what it's going to be. Like, anybody getting really crazy about it at this point, you're just setting yourself up for failure if you think it's going to be something amazing, because it's just that's not the way it is.
Shibby, did you play Arceus?
I did not.
Okay, well, just for shits and giggles here, Arceus kind of for me set the standard. Now, it's not a true Pokemon game as far as like the true Pokemon fans would say, but Arceus looked good. It didn't look great. It wasn't like groundbreaking graphics.
It had the same problem though. It had the jagged edges and stuff. Yes. It's the same problem. That's just the one thing they can't seem to get away from.
If you look at this game versus Sword and Shield, massive upgrade.
Yeah, if you put those two side by side,
not massive. That's too much.
It's a pretty big upgrade.
It's a good upgrade. My issue is you look at a game like Animal Crossing, and I feel like a broken record when I talk about this, but Animal Crossing, and Shibby, you would know something about Animal Crossing. That game looks great on the Switch.
It does
looks great. Why? I just don't understand why we can't get those visuals.
Because there's a lot less
open world.
Yeah, there's a lot less going on there. There's a lot less that you have to rely on the system to be rendering and doing and all. Like, it's just there. It's the island. Okay. The stuff on it. The stuff on it is the stuff on it. You know what I mean? There's only so much that moves and so many different things that are happening when you're talking about an open world game like that. Yeah. Especially on the Switch, because you don't have the system memory to be able to keep things ready to go all the time. You know, in the system in the you know, it can't hold that much information at the same time.
So I have 2 points come back at you with. The first point is that Animal Crossing is a small game. It's about 5 gigabytes. And that's part of the issue is what you're talking about. Where it's not big enough. Is that the games games need to come in at that 16 gig maximum, or not need to come in there. That's the maximum for the Switch, right? Because they want to be able to make sure that it can fit on the system.
They have 32 gigabyte cards. They have 64 gigabyte cards, but
nobody
wants to use them because they're expensive.
Nintendo is clearly saying we're not going to release our games at anything higher than the system memory.
Are small. Yeah,
right.
All their games are very small.
So the cap is 16.
I'm not talking about the size of the cartridge. I'm talking about like the RAM. Like to be able to have things ready to render things, like it doesn't have the RAM to be able to do that.
So it has nothing to do with the Pokemon characters. It just has to do with system hardware.
Yeah, it's all system hardware. I mean,
that doesn't make any sense.
That's the biggest problem. Well,
that doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's plenty of open world games on the Switch that look better than this.
In certain ways, but that's
what is the standard.
They've cut. Well, look at like The Witcher. Like
that is not the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, look at other games that look like that on other systems, that style of game that have come to the Switch, and look at the difference. Outer Worlds looks like garbage on the Switch. Plays like garbage on the Switch. Now, The Witcher's not the greatest experience on the Switch, but it runs pretty good, and I mean, they took time with that one. They rebuilt it from the ground up to run on the Switch. They didn't just pull stuff out and downgrade the quality to make it work. That's what they did with Outer Worlds, and that's why it looks like complete dog shit.